Hey, hi, howdy, and welcome to this Final Fantasy XIV ASMR video. This is the second in I guess now, series of videos where I'm going to be leveling mining while rambling for however long it takes. Last time we did this, we ended at level 70, and I was trying to I got through 10 levels in that video, and this one we're going to be aiming for about 5, I think. Maybe 10. We'll see where we end up and how quickly these things go. I've got my little minion there, my meerkat. It crawled up on my shoulder. And it's been my go-to right now. I think it's just really funny. And we've also got my main character here, Catboy Jesus. Like I said, level 70 mining. Something I did a little different compared to last time. I've actually kind of geared up a little bit more. I think our item level when we left off was like 200. Now it's 314, which is, a little bit bigger. So that's a good start. And I've got some things sort of planned out to do, kind of just like a little bullet point list, because I think last time we focused a lot on the Leves or Leves, whatever you want to call them, the diadem, and I can't remember if there was anything else that we did. It'll come back to me as we go. But I think we mostly just focused on the leves, which is honestly a pretty good way of leveling things up. But variety and whatnot. So I'm here in the, notice how it stays like perfectly vertical as I move around. I love this thing. I don't know. I just got it like the other day. I don't know where it's been all my life, but I am glad that it's here right now. Look at him sit. This goofy little guy. Anyway, we're in the Crystarium right now, and because we're level 70, that means that we get to start into the Shadowbringers side of things. Oop, I clicked on the meerkat. And this particular expansion, I think, has some of the prettiest areas to explore. And I think we'll get to see a good few of them, even if we do just the first 5 levels or so. But the very first thing that I wanted to do here is something I haven't actually done yet. I started the quest for it, but like many things, I didn't really continue it. But that's okay. That's what this is all for now, those happy little accidents. It works out pretty well then for what I'm trying to do here. But in Shadowbringers, they introduced these deliveries that are one-time deliveries for particular NPCs. So these are the miner and botanist ones. There are other ones for like crafting classes, and I think fishing has one too, and various others. But I've never done these, so it seemed like a good opportunity. Plus, to my knowledge, and by that I mean what I Googled maybe 2 years ago whenever I did this, it's a good source of XP. And it also rewards you with scripts, too, which I am now painfully low on because I use them to get gear. And we're going to need those again to get more gear and, progress. Anyway, the very first thing that we need to get here for this one then is animal trace, and we need to get 18 of them. Now, I've already gone ahead and found the location for it, and I didn't scout anything out, but I know roughly where it is, so we can head over there and get going on that. So this first one is located in Amarang. I'm going to be butchering these names. Shadowbringers may have some of the prettiest locations, but I struggled with some pronunciation, and I will continue to struggle. First one we're looking for is over in here somewhere, so we're gonna head there. Now, this time around, I may do extra bits of cutting. Last time I kind of left it all intact, but I would like it if it was sort of a continuous, streamlined, conscious thought, I suppose. I do have a little bit of a bullet point list of things, but I've already gotten off all of that just in the introduction alone. So, oh yeah, we got some chill music here too. That's perfect. Okay. First off, I think I need to use prospect, unless I already have it on. Oh, I already had it on. Okay. Perfect. So we're looking for animal trace somewhere around here. I'm not quite sure where it'll be though. But that's join the fate. I don't want to do that. But searching around and exploring is part of what all of this is too, so. Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, how I got this little pig. I don't remember the name of it. It's on here somewhere. This was like a special mount a couple of friends got for me because it was from an American-only event, I believe, for to buy a certain amount of boba tea at a particular location that the name is escaping me. But they were kind enough to send me one when they were getting it. I think it was last year sometime. Anyway, let's see if this is what, animal trace. This is what we're looking for right here. And we have 100% chance of getting it. That's good. That's all of the gear that we picked up. Now, it's been a little while since I did this. So there's a few things that we should be able to activate here, like King's Yield. So that's going to get me 3 each time. And I have 5 integrity, so 5 times 3. So we're going to get about 15 out of this. I can also increase that up 1 more. And let's gather it. Lovely. Okay. We'll do that one more time. I would like to try to get these as quickly as we can so we can move on to other areas. Okay. I'm not quite sure how many we got there. I'm going to open my inventory. I would kindly ask that you avert your eyes because it is messy. Okay, we've got 19. That's good. We only needed 18. So we've already completed our first task. Excellent. But the thing about that, though, is that that's it. We can't, we can't do it as botanist now. That's the drawback of these particular quests. They are a one and done deal. Now, I'm not sure how much XP we're going to get. We'll find out here in a second. I'm hoping it's enough to at least take us to 71. Okay. We'll hand that over. So that's 2.3 million XP, it looks like. And we're at 400,000, and we need 2.9 million. It'll be close, I think. And that grows our esteem with them, which lets us go on to the next part. Oh, and a little bit of a cutscene. I guess I'll read this. Among the specimens you've brought back, one in particular stood out. A claw fragment that resembles that of no known creature out there. This is definitely worth requesting an analysis of the Hortorium. Wait a moment while I fetch one of their researchers. I honestly don't remember what the quest line for this is like. I probably picked this up a year or two ago. Allow me to introduce Mao Lad. He works closely with Yelana, the poor bastard, and analyzes resources for us. I was trying not to swear this entire time, and you just made me. But most importantly, he is the researcher I mentioned who claims to have encountered the Semil. Semil? I'm going to struggle with names. Go on and recount your tale, lad. On that day, I traveled to Amarang with a crew of miners in order to survey an excavation site. We were going about our work when, without warning, a massive shadow fell over us. Startled, we looked up to see what it was, only to find an empty sky. Whatever was there had vanished. It didn't move away, but vanished. Shadow and all. That was no cloud or bird. No, it could only be the ghost of the Semil. Whispered in Mord legend. Mao, my boy, it ill becomes a man of learning to resort to fanciful tales for an explanation. But, here, take a look at this specimen that Catboy recovered. It's always funny when they refer to me by my first name and my second name. And you'll see that what you encountered was not some ghost of the Semil. Of the Samiel. Samiel? That sounds a little bit better. But the Samiel itself. This resembles the claw of a lizard, yet there aren't any species nearly so massive in Amarang. Assuming the creature it came from is quadruped, we can project its height to be... may I hold on to this? I'd like to examine this more closely at the Hortorium. We were about to ask you to do just that. Should you learn anything of interest, be sure to let us know. Yes, please do. I have no idea what's going on. And there you have it, Catboy. For now, we have but to wait. Okay. In the meantime, perhaps you'd like to acquaint yourself with other lands and the resources they hold. I dare say it would be of interest to a visitor such as you. Feel free to gather as you see fit. You're respectful of nature, I believe, and won't take more than she can give. I am going to mine the hell out of this place. I mean, of course, I accept. And like 600 scripts there, that's pretty good. And we've raised our self-esteem. Cool. So that was the first delivery quest. Oh, and they have I'm not sure if this is just a continuation, but we may as well start it. Ah, there you are, my friend. You'll be pleased to hear that Mao has finished his analysis. Oh, that fast, huh? I haven't moved. As we had first assumed, the peculiar specimen you recovered comes from no beast we're familiar with. While we don't have conclusive evidence as to the identity of its owner, we're certain that it's a tremendously large creature, a creature not unlike the Samiel. There's just one problem. By the time you found the claw fragment, it had already lain there for several moons. This means its owner has likely left Amarang, and the trail is cold. But do not be disheartened. We've practically established the Samiel's existence, and that is a Samiel-sized step in our quest. Moreover, we have promising new information. It comes from a sentry at the Ancestor Gate. According to the fellow, he was out on patrol a few nights ago when he felt a rhythmic tremor. He rounded up his comrades and they set out to investigate. And what should they find? But nothing at all. Not even a lone field mouse. There was just an oddly muggy gust of wind. Unnerved by the strangeness of it all, the sentries decided to beat a hasty retreat. Do you smell that, Catboy? It's the glorious stench of the Samiel, right here in Lakeland. Time is of the essence if we are to track it down. To that end, I want you to take yourself to Sullen and look for more evidence of the creature. Not any sort of evidence this time, mind you, but its droppings. The fresher, the better. Okay. I know, Catboy. I know. But it's for a good cause. A steaming, fly-ridden pile of excitement is a veritable repository of knowledge. We just need to be willing to go elbow deep to extract it. I also wanted to avoid this kind of stuff again because I made jokes like this before. But the game's doing it. So please, please gather as much of the brown pungent stuff as you can. I promise these videos won't all include shit jokes. I knew I could depend on you. I await your return with bated breath, lest the stench make me queasy. Okay. So we can actually do the next delivery, I guess, which I also jotted down the location of, but they mentioned it. It's in Sullen, in Lakeland, and we're going to get animal droppings. I think, even though I'm pretty sure this is a higher level node, I think we can still go gather it. So I guess we'll go do that next. And then after that, though, I'm not sure. It might be best then to switch it up and go do some of the leves. Or alternatively, go back to the firmament for potentially two things. One we did before and something a little different, I think. But we'll see. Anyway, our next step is to go to Lakeland. Now, I think this is one of the first pretty areas of the game. If you really enjoy the color purple or lavender, I guess. But you have the big crystal tower over there in the background. This is just outside the Crystarium. And if I remember correctly, this is the first area you really explore. Maybe second. I think for me it was the second, but I'm pretty sure you get a choice depending on like how you want to proceed with the story. It all converges to one area, but the game lets you pick, if I'm remembering correctly. But it's very pretty with the night. But during the day too, it kind of lights up if I remember right, and it's very nice. And the music here is always good too. And the music in this game in general is really good. Okay, so we're looking for, I think it's level 73, but I'm going to check this one here. No, this isn't it. Okay. So we gotta find another thing. I guess while we're doing this, then I can kind of start going through my somewhat list of things I wanted to talk about and that I didn't really get to last time, I don't think. And that was probably because I was still a little bit out of it at that time. I think I was a week out of a little bit of surgery I had on my jaw. I think I had mentioned that. But now fully recovered and things are good, no complications or anything. So it was pretty simple. But I think in that first video, I had discussed kind of how I was introduced to ASMR as a concept. I think now a little over a decade ago, about 2014, by a close friend of mine at the time. And the people that I was introduced to listen to, but what I didn't really get into, I don't think, is what ASMR is to me. You know, that sudden, strong, intense, sometimes intense feeling. Although that makes it sound a little bit harsher than it should be. It's like a pleasant intensity, if that makes sense. A word that I came across some time ago is frisson, I think, which is a French word. I probably butchering that pronunciation. But the closest that, or the definition for that is like a sudden, strong feeling. And I figured that described ASMR very well. A very strong sensory feeling. And I don't know if I went over like my preferences for the content and the things that I've listened to, which have varied pretty wildly over the years. But common themes tend to be like binaural audio and, you know, shifting between left and right sides and things like that. Okay, I'm getting a little too rambly because I went completely off track here. We're trying to get all the way down here. If I'm not careful, that'll happen a little too much. Something that's been a bit more recent, though, for me, I think, is like abstract, colorful scenes, like in games or movies. Maybe not even abstract, just really vibrant, pretty scenes are enough to like send those shivers down my arms and things like that. It's like taking everything in the moment. And I think that that's something that ASMR does for me. I think it grounds me a little bit in the present, or helps me stop to take everything in as it's happening, which I don't often do. I usually feel like a bit of a blur. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but kind of like I'm taking a back seat to whatever's happening. I'm processing it all, but it's going on like behind the scenes. I'm not actively engaged in something. And then ASMR, for example, pulls me back into that, something to engage with the senses. And it affects it differently depending on, what it is, if it's a visual thing or if it's an auditory thing or both. It's different in feeling. So we got the animal droppings there. That's a great transition. It's level 73, so we have a 77% chance of acquiring it. And I think once again, we need 18, but we can only get 1 because our level is a bit low compared to it, and our gear subsequently is a bit low. So we can use some of our skills here to boost those. What would be a good one? We can do the 15% extra, which bumps it up to 92, and then an extra gain. I obtained nothing. That was a 92% chance, and I obtained nothing. Oh. That's the worst. Okay, but we got it all the other time, so that's good. We're about halfway then. I bet you this one has it too. Yeah, okay. I'm going to stop that there, and we're going to use a high cordial, which regenerates some GP so that we can use more abilities. Now this normally regens over time, but I'm very impatient. So we'll do it this way. And we'll do a King's Yield on it so that it goes up to 2. We do have a lesser chance of actually getting them like that. Oh, twice in a row. Oh, 3 times in a row. That's no good. Okay. It's fine though. We got 13 right now. So I just need to find one more node somewhere. While we search for this, maybe I can get back on my other train of thought. I think we're talking about ASMR being grounded in the present, or bringing things back to the now, or reminding, in my case, reminding me that I'm here, if that makes sense. Yeah, something to focus on that's completely sensory. Oh, and I think we found some more deposits. Perfect. Let's increase our percentages again. And this time we'll use Quick Gather on it. And we obtain nothing. That happens a lot. Oh. And now we're level 71. So that's good. It only took about 30 minutes into the video. So, needless to say, I don't think this method is particularly fast, at least when I'm rambling like this. I can kind of get lost. I have a very one-track mind. Anyway, we've got the 20. That's good. So now we can head back to the Crystarium, turn those in, get a little bit more story that, in all honesty, I don't really even know what's going on there. But they seem excited by it, so. Oh yeah, I don't often use ASMR directly for sleep. It's more like I like it as background, like when I'm playing a game like this, for example, and I'm just by myself. It's soothing in a way. Or when I'm doing other things, writing something or working on something, I'll put on random rambles or noises or things like that, and it's just helpful, I guess. All right, let's turn these in. I think they needed 18. Oh, wait. Only miners level 73 can make deliveries. We can't actually turn it in. Okay. Well, we've got it for later then. That's good. It's okay. That's okay. We're ahead of the curve right now then. We're gonna just jump straight to the leves then. And these should be, yeah, these are level 70. They give 666,000 XP per. And that's just the base though. That's not counting any bonuses. And we need 3 million to get to 72. Oh man. Okay. Well, we're just gonna accept all of these and then go and get to work. But I often end up, oh yep, they're all here. You can see it on the map there. I often end up using ASMR less of like a direct sleep aid and more of just background noise or an indirect aid, like when I'm winding down or something. Never to sleep to, but maybe to get sleepy too, if that makes sense. All right, the search for slag. That's our first levee here. I gotta find it in our list here. There it is. Initiate. We can go to a +1, which is fine. We can do that. Oh wow. The music makes it sound so intense when really all we're doing is just mining rocks. So we need 40 rocks here. Pretty easy. We have 100% success rate on that. It's just going to take a little while. Like I said before, though, I may end up cutting through things because just as an experiment, I think, to keep this as like a streamlined ramble. I'm not sure if the focus should really be on me talking, the gameplay, the mixture. So we'll see where it goes. Last time I left it mostly raw. This time we'll play it by ear. But I think we've been doing pretty good. I'm seeing some hefty waveforms here. I clicked on my meerkat again, who is still vertical, despite the mining. But we're already like almost halfway through this one, so that's pretty good timing, I'd say. I imagine if we do all of these with the bonus level, and you factor in all the XP 200% bonus you get for this, and I'm not even using survival manuals, which I just reminded myself of. I should really be using these. That'll give even more XP now. For 17 hours, up to 2 million. I can't remember if I did that last time or not. I think I did. But that was like 5 months ago. I haven't actually played this game in a little while, despite still paying for a subscription. the group that I usually play with kind of took a break because we basically played it like every day for 2 years. And after a while, you kind of get a little burned out on a game, I think. And we did all the like main story contents together and some of the extra stuff, some raids, some, outside trials, hard trials, extreme, so on and so forth. And a lot of the, like Palace of the Dead and things like that. But I think we just got a little burned out on it. The last, we completed the duty. The last, major thing I did in the game was I managed to buy a house. Yeah, just a small in the mist, to which I've decorated very poorly. As in, I just made it a mess. That was the theme. It's a mess. But I think it's funny. I like it. Kind of like my character's outfit. I designed this one to be a little messy. Like I just walked out of the house. I didn't even put shoelaces. There's no laces in these. I just grabbed a sweater. It's not even on my shoulders. Maybe I didn't do laundry for like 2 weeks or something. What's this one? Bar me for ballistas. Okay, so we'll initiate that one. And it's also +1, so that's good. What are we trying to get here? An evaluation bonus. Okay. So if we get the 160, we get +25%. That on 600,000, that would be pretty big. So I think it's probably worth going for that. That would take us to like what? 850,000. Yeah, that'd be pretty good then. So we should probably go for these 85% ones. Now I could use some of my abilities here, but I don't think we need to. And we're getting 34,000 a hit, 37,000 a hit. Yeah, I think we're gonna hit our goal pretty, maybe not quickly, but we're gonna hit our goal. The last content that I really got through was the store. Oh my god, we're obtaining nothing on this. Was the 7.1 drop, which I think was November, and that sounds about right for when we stopped. I remember doing the Alliance raid that came out a couple of times, but apart from that, I mostly like playing this game with other people. Fancy that, an MMO. Playing with other people, unheard of. Not necessarily strangers, but people I know. It's nice to have that kind of like consistent game. Did we get the bonus? I don't know if we did, but we completed it, so that's good enough, I think. But if anybody is watching this and you're not asleep, or you're, keeping this in the background, and you ever want to add me, feel free. I'll probably accept. I might not say anything, but if we ever want to play, then I won't say that it's off the table. But it really just depends on what's going on. Let's see. Jewelry for all. It's the last one that I picked up. I'm trying to remember, like, all my little hotkeys I set up because if you couldn't tell based on like how everything is structured here, I really don't like the default UI. Okay, this is another percentage based one. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do sharp vision to get that up to 90%. And we're gonna go for that one. I don't care a lot for very cluttered UIs, and I found that I like macroing things and hotkeying everything. So I've got like all my baselines here. Like I have a mount that I like for each class or something, or just the roulette. I have my duty list on F2. That's pretty consistent. Return doesn't even need to be there. I have that on a hotkey. Oh, I forgot to turn this. That would have been 100%. In other words, I big nerd. But I like optimizing that kind of stuff. Except for when you don't play for like 2 or 3 months and you forget everything. Although it came back to me pretty quick. It took a little bit. Like down in here, the structure I have for this is like 1, 2, 3, 4 QERF, and then it's like shift variants of that, then control variants of that, and then alt variants of those, which gives a lot of options then for things. And depending on the class, then I'll like section those things off where it's like, oh, maybe like really special abilities or ones that use like a gauge or a meter. I'll put that on alt. And like my AoEs, I'll usually do a shift for that one. And like basic attacks will be on, 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of stuff. And like special abilities, my like main abilities will be like QERF. But this is a game I can always feel myself like coming back to for different reasons. But like I said, the big one is usually the social. It's fun with people. We have a lot of fun playing it. And then I guess this too was like just another excuse for me to play it more. It was an excuse for me to level up my minor because doing all of this is really, really boring. But if you can turn that into something else, a la a very, very boring video, whose intention is to be boring, then I think it's good. And it the whole 2 birds stoned at once concept. I don't even know where we're at we're at 234. Yeah, we're probably going to get the bonus then. That's good. The more XP, the better, but we're almost at level 72 there. So maybe we'll be at 73 by the time we finish. And if that's the case, then we can turn in our animal droppings that we got before. And that should bring us very close to 74 and almost to the goal. Which, looking at my timing, I think that's probably a good stopping point then. I thought it would be, because as we get further and further up the ladder, it's going to get harder and harder to level, especially when we get to 90. I think I'm going to end up having to focus very heavily on collectibles when we get there, which is one thing that I thought we might get to in this one, but I'm not sure yet. It really depends on where like these leves and the delivery requests take us. And then there's also, we're level 72. There's also custom deliveries too, which I believe I have every single person for custom deliveries now. I don't know if I did before or not, but I definitely do now. And there's one in particular that I'm kind of looking forward to doing because I think it'll be funny. But I think we need to get to level 80 first. So that'll be like 2 or 3 videos from now if I keep going with this series. And I kind of like it because it gives me a chance to just talk without really like thinking too much, if you couldn't tell. But then, losing those trains of thought. If you're paying very close attention to what I say, I hope it's not too frustrating because it's going to go all over the place. All right, we're here to turn this in. There was, back to the little discussion about like ASMR and what that is to me. One thing I wanted to mention was like, as a kid, there's something I remember, and I've heard it brought up by like other ASMR people in their videos, and that's like, if you heard the elementary school rhyme, like crisscross applesauce, spiders crawling up your back, tight squeeze, gentle breeze, now you've got the shiveries, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's like the exact phrasing for it. I'm probably combining a few different ones together there. Because it probably varies by location, like a game of telephone. But I remember quite a few kids doing that when I was younger, maybe like 3rd grade, 4th grade. So like I was 7 to 8 at that time. But I did it too, and I always found it really, really fascinating because I think that was my first experience with like ASMR, but not knowing that that's what it was at the time because, well, that wasn't like a term then. Neither would I know like frisson or anything like that because I barely knew what a croissant was. But then like, I wanted to know like, why does it feel like that? Like what it, because it was really intense for me as a kid. I was like, why is that? Like a good kind of intense. But then, when discovering ASMR for the first time, suddenly it's like, oh, everything made sense. It clicked. It's like, that's what that was. That's why that felt like that. And then it just kept going from there. So, all right, we've got a few more leaves then that we can do. We're at 72, a million XP from 73. Okay. All right, definitely going to get to 74 with this plan. And then after that, maybe we can do some custom deliveries. And then that'll take us to 75. And then that'll be a good end. Let's see where these ones are. Oh, okay, we're going to Ilmek. This is good. This is like one of the most pristine locations in Shadowbringers, and I think in the game in general. The land of the fairies. Oh my god, it's so bright. At least to me. We've been in like nighttime areas. It's so pink. Okay, let's get started here then. I'm not sure if our gear is going to be up to snuff though. We might have to use some skills in order to ensure that we actually get these, or like get the most out of them. This first one is Crystallized Revenge. So we're going to start that. Yeah, it's recommending me at the lower difficulty. I guess I'll just do it. I want to make sure I actually get everything I'm supposed to. I don't want to miss anything. Oh, I probably could have. This is just a regular gathering one. There's no bonuses. 94%. That's pretty good, yeah. I was very much anticipating that, just missing. And then I'd have to eat my words. But these areas are very, very pretty. Like with the water there, and the waterfalls up top, and all the bright crystals and reflections, and it's just gorgeous. I think this is the third area that we go to. It's also the area with the first trial, I believe. I don't want to spoil too much. I'm really just grasping for topics here. I've kind of run out of bullet points. I only had like 2. Oh yeah. I kind of wanted to talk about like some of the games that I played in between. But when I really think about it, it's only been 2 games, and they're both Final Fantasy. So in January, I decided I really wanted to get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the second part of a trilogy for the remake of Final Fantasy VII. If that collage of words makes sense. But I decided that I was going to get that game at like the beginning of January, because I saw so much footage of it for PS5, and I was like, I want that game, but I don't have a PS5. So that's a lot of money that I don't want to spend for like a couple of games. But then I thought, well, I've owned part 1 or remake for like 2 years, and I never finished it. Go figure. That's kind of how I operate. And then just sat down and did that, and a friend of mine also played through it too. I think they beat it a few weeks before I did, but I managed to finish it like maybe a few days before Rebirth came out, and then that's what I've been playing now in any like spare time I've had. I think I'm at like 80 hours or something, and it's one of those games where there's a lot to do, but it never like actually feels like you're making progress. It's a lot of mini games, which, to my knowledge, the original Final Fantasy VII had a lot of mini games, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them are very fun the first few times that you do them, but trying to grind them out and like finish all of them is a little tiring. And I've gotten to the point where like I'm so set on trying to finish all of the side quests that like I think I'm on the last one. And of course the last side quest I need to do is like all mini games. And it's some of the hardest ones, combat wise. So I kind of stopped playing a few days ago because of that. And I'm almost done the game too, like the main story. There's 14 chapters, something like that. And I'm on chapter 13. But that's when like you have access to everything in the game. Like the whole thing opens up. I mean, it's pretty open before for like a good portion of it. But, you know, you have all of the side quests at your disposal and all of the world intel that you can get and all of the proto relics. And there's a lot of stuff. And within a lot of that stuff is story or things that are kind of like hidden that you would otherwise miss, and a lot of it's like good character development and callbacks to remake or to the previous game, and it's a lot of fun in that sense. So to me, that's somewhat rewarding, but I think I'm getting to the point where it's like I just want to finish the game. And we made it to level 73. Woohoo! We're starting this this next little levee, which I think has a bonus. Yeah, but as you could see, we kind of have a low-ish chance of acquiring the one that gives us the most points. Because, like, yeah, that's 92%. So that's going to give us, like, I think 6 points. But this one, if we get it, it gives us, like, 9 towards this little bonus thing. And that's obviously much more worthwhile. So if we can get that, then that's great. So that's what I'm aiming for here, because the more the merrier, you know. And eventually our survival manual, I think, is going to run out. But I have a few more that they gave me, so I should be able to activate those. Oh, man, we move so slow when swimming. Oh yeah, I completely glossed over that there's like the underwater area here. I think the Stormblood area, though, had a nicer underwater area, at least in my opinion. Maybe it's because like there was more blue and refraction to it. Refraction? Reflection? No, it would be refraction, I think. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I took physics of any sort. Here's the next one. Perfect. We're slowly running out of GP. Slowly. I just used like all of it to get that one. One of the other things I kind of wanted to discuss was uncertainty. Not really, probably not the most relaxing topic. It kind of sounds anxious. I don't mean for that. But I think no, this is just rambling, right? I've reached a particular point in my life, I think, where I've acknowledged, or I am actively acknowledging uncertainty. Having kind of thought that I was on a sort of path, or that the things that I was doing were definitely 100% leading to something, and then finding that that's not necessarily the case, where you get somewhere, but maybe it's not quite what was envisioned or quite how you imagined things to be. And a lot of that ends up being valuable learning experience. Maybe in like tempering expectation of things. As an example, I guess, I've worked the same job now for about 3 years, well, with the same company. And I've shuffled around a little bit within it, but most of it kind of felt like side steps, if that makes sense. Nothing ever really felt like a leap forward. It was kind of like, oh, I'm doing the same thing I was doing over there, or, relatively, but the desk has changed, or, the team is a little bigger or a little smaller in some cases. And, it's really easy then for, at least for me, to slip into that idealistic mindset of like, well, this is all good. This is good. I need this. This is contributing to the end, even though I have no idea what that's supposed to look like. As time goes on and as I sit with that a little bit more, I become more comfortable with that uncertainty, and with that lets me try various things or different things, or pick up other skills or hobbies, or even completely shifting careers, because I'm in the process of looking for new jobs at this point that are at least hopefully step forward rather than side steps, if that makes sense. For a while, thoughts like that or things like that would excite me initially, but then would scare me because I didn't know if it matched whatever I was picturing before or presently. And then it leads to that uncertainty. And then there's the realization that life itself is an uncertainty. Well, here he is getting philosophical. Not really. It's like bare bones philosophical. But if it's uncertainty that brought me into the world, and uncertainty that's led me to become who I am, then maybe it's okay to trust in uncertainty and embrace it a bit more than try and control it, if that makes sense. Because I've realized over time, I try to control a lot of things that I really don't have control over. Trying to sort of embrace those little moments where I'm witnessing something just happening as is, if that makes sense. It kind of goes back to before when I said like ASMR helps to keep me grounded a lot of the times when doing something. Because it's like that physical sensory reminder that like I'm here in a moment in the present, rather than, drifting off into space somewhere thinking about nothing. And speaking of, I think we've gathered enough pink sapphires, but we have to finish mining all of these deposits. And our survival manual ran out, which means we can activate another one. I don't know if that is the most ASMR friendly topic, but it is what's kind of been on my mind lately. And I think that showed in one other video I made, aptly titled Failure, which I I really don't want. That's part of like a little podcasty ish quote unquote podcast series that I wanted to start back in like 2023, where I talk about things like failure and my sort of experience with it or feeling with it and expression of that. And I think that video encompasses very well my original intention of it. The other two in it are more abstract, like random scribbles of things, like words jotted together, and maybe there's a pattern to it, maybe there isn't. It was very, I guess, unrefined expression. I felt good after making those, but I recognize that the intention or the purpose behind those things isn't always going to be understood. And at the same time, I do and I don't want to explain it. Oh, and we're level 74. Okay, I'm like a quarter of the way to 75. I'm willing to bet, actually, that if we turn in the last, or the animal droppings we got, we'll get to 75. I think this will be it. So we'll get a little bit of reading in here, and then we'll probably wrap things up. But that kind of series, I've already got the next like 2 or 3 things I want to talk about, just things that have become important to me to keep track of, I guess. Because for a long time, I never really looked at how I felt about things. I always kind of tried to bury it or hide it. And having that as an outlet, I think, at least in my eyes, maybe it's different for other people. I see it as a positive. Because when I'm done with it and it's out there, I feel clean in a way, cleansed. Even if it's just rambly and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when listening back to it, and it's a roller coaster of words, it still feels right, if that makes sense. And I think that's all I've really ever cared about, is having these things feel right to me. My, you'll have to go far to find fresher, plumper droppings. Great sentence after what I've just been talking about. Thank you for these beauties, my friend. I shall see them to Yelana's hands while they're still steaming. They happily accept your delivery. And we're level 75, just as I thought. For once, I am correct on my estimations. I'm not overly optimistic on it. Catboy, it will sadden you to hear this, but we have no further need of droppings. But I have this whole bag. Even as we speak, Yolana is compiling the results of her preliminary analysis. Let's pay her a visit, shall we? I guess so. Excellent timing, Chief. I'm ready to present my results. Catboy? I wasn't expecting you too. Don't tell me the Chief has roped you into her obsession. I'm doing this willingly. I'm proud of it. Why, I never. Chief, I hope you've thanked Catboy profusely. They haven't. They haven't. I have not been thanked at all. Actually, they did. I'm exaggerating. Remember, Catboy, you don't have to do this. You can stop whenever you like. Okay, I stop now. The Chief is oblivious to the discomfort of others. You have to make it crystal clear when you've had enough, else oblivious she will remain. Right, the results. Through my preliminary analysis of the excrement, I've established that it belongs to no beast we have in our records. There were traces of the shoots of Lakeland's tallest trees, suggesting that the creature possesses a towering stature. That is all I have for now, but I will conduct a deeper analysis in order to learn about the creature's behavior. I am the creature. Those are my droppings. While you're certainly ready and willing when it comes to Catboy, excuse me if I'm a little jealous. Should be. And you'll excuse me if I'm not wholly fond of those who are wont to make a nuisance of themselves. Besides, if there's a creature out there that is unknown to us, it's our duty to shed light upon it. Oh, finally having some fun, are we? I knew you'd come around. That's not exactly my motivation. At any rate, I'll be in touch again with the detailed results. Catboy, I'm sure the Chief will pass the information to you before proceeding to send you off on another errand. Precisely. Until then, my friend, do keep your gathering skills sharp. We will have need of them. Oh, I shall. They are now level 75. I was hoping to get more. Ooh, 720 scripts. We can get some gear with that. And our esteem level increased again. We are now Chaser of the Samiel. Sweet. I wonder how close we are to... no, just barely started 75. But I think with that, we're going to end this episode here. That went on a lot longer than I thought it would, but I think it was because of me yapping. I didn't realize I had a tendency to start spinning in circles when I'm talking. I'm also not sure if I was soft-speaking this time or if I was whispering or a little bit of both. It felt like soft-spoken, but I think I mentioned last time it kind of feels like I'm growling. There's a rumble down under. Thank you if you've made it to this point, and I don't know how, if you've managed to follow the 7 separate trains of thought that have been running this whole time. Thanks for listening to this. Hopefully it provided good background or as some kind of sleep aid. I really don't know what people would use this for. Like I said, for me, I like putting these on while I'm playing a game, usually the same game that I'm watching. It's just one of those little things. Thanks for joining me for this little ASMR adventure and getting our mining up again. I hope to see you again soon, sooner than the few months between these ones. I'll be definitely posting other content, some in the usual things that I do, and some outside of that, like with art and animation. I think I like the idea of posting some of the little things that I draw or that I work on to the community tab, just as not even like progress reports or anything, but just a like, this is what I've been doing, or this is what I've been learning. And I'm hoping one day I can maybe do that with some piano stuff or guitar stuff, because I got that kind of cooking in the background as well. But yeah, this is the year that I want to dive into things that I've either always wanted to, or that I kind of set aside or completely ignored outright. But I think this has gone on long enough now. Thanks again for listening. I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. But it's been fun. Take care, and I'll see you soon.